Hi everyone, delonewolf here. Welcome back to some EVE Online, and in today's video I want to give you guys a bit of an update on how I've been running the agency, and I can't believe my luck here because you just saw 2 Sasha dens spawn in on me. So this has not happened before, and I must say today will probably end up being the easiest day of doing the agency for me, because despite the fact that CCP changed the battlecruiser quest and the Tech 3 cruiser quest to just kill 10 rats with them to earn 4 points, it's still been quite a time-consuming activity to do all of the agency quests. In fact, on several evenings I didn't get them done within an hour, and thus I pushed back the time at which I would have to start the next day to run these quests. Quite annoying. Maybe 20 hours would have been a better cooldown. But the first thing that I always did was go after a signature. A combat signature is probably the hardest to find, and with the changes to the battlecruiser and the Tech 3 cruiser quest, that was probably the most time-consuming one. And so my trick was always to run those in the confessor and then just look for a very easy site. Even drone sites would count towards that quest or that mission. So very handy to run it in a ship that can do almost any combat site or signature that you would find. And as a result, that's basically been, I think, the most efficient way of running them. After that, you just got me finishing, after I finished the signature quest, you could see that here on the, oops, let's just pour these guys out, and I think I can add one of these. Yep, there we go. So that was finished signature, and for today I was actually extremely lucky with that quest, because I found a 4 out of 10 here in Detail. It was also being run by someone else, but because I think it's because I got at least a couple shots off of the True Sasha, I actually also got it to count towards my quest. And so I saved a lot of time there by being very lucky with the combat signature. After that, this is what I would always do. I would jump in my battle cruiser and I would start to look for some anomalies. And that was actually also pretty time consuming, because I was far from the only player that was running the agency this way. A lot of anomalies that I found were actually filled with Tech 3 cruisers and with other battle cruisers, and so as a result that also became pretty time consuming. But this is probably the most efficient way of running this in high sec, because you also only need 1,000,000 ISK in bounties, and something like a Sasha den or 2 Sasha dens will very easily help to finish those quests. Now here is actually the Vexor Navy issue that I think was in the 4 out of 10 as well, while these bastards are going after one of my ogres and actually putting me into armor a little bit. So let's recall that one and let's kill a couple more. There we go. And I think, there we go, 4 points achieved, so these guys are done as well. This may be a little bit strange, but at this point, after finishing the kill 10 rats with the battlecruiser, I would just pull it back and move on to the Tech 3 cruiser. So we're going to do that. Drones are back. We are going to leave, and it looks like the Vexor Navy issue is actually leaving the site for me there. So very nice. And with just this, you know, find an anomaly, preferably not a refuge and not a hideaway, those are too small, but something like a den or a hidden hideaway or things like that, has some cruisers that spawn in. That was pretty damn good to quickly get the kill 10 rats with the battle cruiser out of the way. And now all that's left to do is kill 10 rats with a strategic cruiser, find 5 belt rats, I'd always leave that for the end, and get a little bit of bounties. So that should actually all be possible, and another 14 rats to kill in general, but yeah, another 10 for the cruiser and the belt rats. That's pirate eradication done as well. So here we go, let's switch out to the Tech 3 cruiser and go back into that Sasha den to finish it off. Yes please, undock and get going. And so yeah, let's maybe discuss the agency a little bit. So I think that the changes that CCP did to the quests is definitely something that made finishing all the agency quests on a daily basis much more accessible and possible. Having to find a 4 out of 10 for a cruiser, and then something like a vigil or a watch in Highsec for a Tech 3 cruiser would become so time consuming that I don't think anyone was going to really bother with those quests. And this way they were also so small in rewards that I don't think anyone was going to really bother with the quests anyway. And now this way it's a minimal effort, as you can see right here. Just taking a Tech 3 cruiser in a Sancha is not exactly the ship that's meant to run this specific content, but it'll get the job done. And there we go, that's another rat down, and this goes pretty fast in this Proteus. And so I think I actually enjoyed the agency. A bit of a part of the challenge for me was to try and finish everything under an hour, which I didn't manage to do, probably because I stuck to Highsec most of the time. And so finding a combat signature was sometimes very time consuming. Lots of people were hunting for those as well. And after CCP changed the quests for Tech 3 cruisers and the battle cruisers, it was also very difficult to find uncontested anomalies and to actually get the necessary bounties and the necessary kills out of these sites. But yeah, pretty lucky with a double den spawn here. That's some more points earned. Now we just have to kill a couple more rats. So these guys are next. And I did enjoy the agency so far myself. When it comes to my progress, you can see right here, I'm at 346 points at this point. 380 will get me the Daegu skin, so I should be able to finish that off tomorrow. While the rewards are not great, 1-plex booster and 4-plex is definitely something that is below the normal efficiency, as yet another Sancha then spawns here. I still need the bounty, so I'm actually going to run a second one as well, and then we'll hunt for the belt rats. But with 6 days to spare, tomorrow I'll probably finish this, and then I'll still have 5 days to spare. Definitely I think it's going to stop at this point. I don't think that there's even more rewards after this, but I personally did enjoy the agency because mostly I think because of course oops, that's where Dark Han is doing his stuff, so we're going to move to the next one. But yeah, mostly of course because I enjoy exploration myself, and this was to me a nice little distraction, and the challenge was in trying to complete this in like under an hour in a doable time frame, which today will have been the fastest for me of completing the agency quest. Definitely well under an hour, but mostly because I was very lucky with actually finding a signature right in my home system. Sometimes I think I had to scan 15, 16 systems just to find a combat signature to do in my confessor. So that was pretty crazy, and most of those were then as well drone sites, which I think quite a few people actually left behind because they may not have realized that it was also possible to run the quest for the combat signature on a drone site. So that was definitely something that helped me personally with managing to finish that quest. And what would I change? Well, first of all, personally, I don't think that there would be any problem with setting the cooldown timer to 20 hours, because with just 1 hour, especially alpha clones, I think will need more time to complete their quests, especially with all the competition from veteran players like myself. They'll need more than 1 hour, and if even I experienced the increase in the time in the evening at which I could actually run the agency quest, then alpha clones are definitely going to experience that. And if they would put the cooldown on 20 hours, then this would basically allow you to come back for the agency at the same time every single day much more easily. So that's definitely something that I would change. I would also change the rewards, no doubt about that. These are not enough to really incentivize a lot of the player base to go after them. You're better off actually looking for 4 and 3 out of 10s with all the competition. Was probably not the right time to be doing some high skill exploration, but just ratting in nullsec, doing wormhole sites, all of that was far more efficient than what you're getting out of the agency so far. So that is definitely something that CCP needs to look at as well. And maybe the types of quests. A question that I saw, and I actually agree with it, is who was this aimed at? Is this aimed for alpha clones? Well, these kinds of rewards might help alpha clones that are interested in exploring and getting a bit of an extra reward for their exploration. So from that perspective it would make sense, but then why would you put a Tech Tree Cruiser and a Battle Cruiser quest in there which alpha clones cannot complete? I think that's only going to frustrate a lot of them, that they cannot run all of these quests. Maybe the idea is to turn them into Omega, but there's basically no way that they could train into those ships. So how I would personally switch it is that I like the baseline 4 quests where you had to kill 25 rats, kill a couple of belt rats, finish the signature, and earn a certain set of bounties. And I would basically keep those 4 quests, but have that be a tier, a first tier, something to complete, and then you'd get a daily reward out of that, maybe something extra next to the points. And after that it would unlock more quests, maybe a second tier, that's all of them then on a 20-hour cooldown, but that second tier would then be different depending on alpha clones and on omega clones. So depending on which you are, you would for instance get, do the same thing or do some activities in a Tech Tree Cruiser and a Battle Cruiser if you're omega, but if you're alpha, maybe provide some harsher or some more time consuming quests for them, but something that they can still complete so that they can feel like they can actually keep up with everyone else when they're doing these agency quests. So that is maybe a question. I never really saw it answered, but who was this geared towards? Who is the is CCP trying to reach with the agency? And if it's alpha clones, it just doesn't make sense to put that Tech Tree and that Battle Cruiser quest in there. If it's for everyone, well, let's be honest, the rewards aren't good enough to incentivize the general population of EVE Online to run the agency. So for me, I enjoyed it because I like exploration and I did see it as a pretty interesting challenge to do. It was also not too time consuming. I think from that perspective around 1 hour is actually pretty perfect. If you're a bit lucky or you really know very well what you're doing, then you can probably cut down on the time quite a little bit. And for alpha clones it's gonna be a nice challenge to actually complete all of that in a timely fashion as well. So on the idea itself, I think it's definitely okay, but there is definitely some improvements that CCP can do as well. And I think the first part is really try to decide who this is for. Do you want this to be for alpha clones? Then I think the rewards are okay there. You know, a couple of plex is actually probably a major incentive for an alpha clone. But if it's for the general player base, then yeah, sorry, you'll need to give us some more enticing rewards. And the answer there is probably going to be skill points. Everybody was, for as far as I can tell, really positive with that daily skill point. A tiny little amount of skill points, I think it was like 10,000 of them that you could earn in one of the previous events like this. That was something that was really good, and if you want more players to run this, especially veterans and the general population, you need to add something like that, because these rewards at the moment just aren't enough. And of course, after I finish the bounties and the killing of all the rats needed with the Tech Tree Cruiser, we start going through some belts, trying to find some more belt rats to kill. And here we are pretty lucky. First belt, we find 4 of them, so that is them done. And then after this, let's go to a next belt, look for 1 final rat, and then for today I think we will have finished the agency in under half an hour if I find a final belt rat quite quickly. Of course, it's very rare that I've been able to do all of it in a single system and basically in one go as well. So luck plays its part as well. And other than that, I've had days where I think I've been busy for an hour and 45 minutes. It was in high sec, so it's really my own risk averseness that cost me a lot of time. But yeah, if you're unlucky with finding the signatures, if you're unlucky with finding decent anomalies that are going to get your bounties up, then those two are really going to cost you quite a little bit of time to run through. But other than that, yeah, the agency was definitely okay. There is some refinement to do there, but personally I actually enjoy doing these. And it's good to see as well that CCP listened to the player base, probably saw some metrics as well on the number of players that ran signatures in battle cruisers and tech 3 cruisers, and they saw, yeah, maybe we do need to switch that to an easier quest for those 4 extra points, because well, most players are definitely just skipping that as it's not worth the time investment, and they did that. So pretty good there, I think, from CCP, willing to adapt on the fly too. So just a couple more bells to check until we find the rat. In my experience, actually Dital has been the right system to check for rats. Maybe it's a bit of confirmation bias, because I used to just finish like this, right? All I have to do now is find a couple belt rats, so I would slowly fly back home to my home system. But yeah, here again, there you go, 5th or 6th belt that I check, and there are the necessary rats. So allow me, goddammit, these guys are still invulnerable. Allow me to finish them. And with that, the agency is once again going to be finished for me. Awesome for me that I can see now that I can actually make a little bit of time. So tomorrow I'll be able to run them like 30 minutes earlier than normally, and then today. So kill the butcher. There we go, butcher killed. Let's kill this one here as well. And with that, we've got another 10 points. This brings my total to 366. Just a couple more quests to do tomorrow, quests or missions to do tomorrow, and we'll have the Tengu skin. I wonder if it'll be a good price, because it's so early at the moment. And get in on the Astra Hus. So with that, we are heading back. That's been my experience for the agency. Feel free to post in the comments whether or not you've been doing the agency quest, whether you've enjoyed it, and what you would change to it. I know that there have been some bugs as well when it comes to, I think it's mostly UI bugs, but when it comes to the unlocking of these quests after the cooldown timer, I've definitely experienced it very badly on one evening. But if you wait all the cooldown timers, then you do a relog, then you're actually normally good to go. And there you go, another 6 days for me. I'm gonna keep doing the agency, gonna try and complete it as much as possible. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.